Welcome back. What I'm about to tell you today may go down as one of the most shocking and controversial moments in Spain's recent World Cup history. One of those nights where the final whistle blows, the stadium lights remain on, and millions of fans around the world simply sit there staring at their screens, trying to understand what they have just witnessed. Spain's opening match of the 2026 World Cup has turned into a complete nightmare. Nobody expected this, not the fans, not the analysts, not even the critics who spent weeks warning about the danger surrounding Spain's preparation for this tournament. The reigning European champions arrived at the World Cup carrying enormous expectations. This was supposed to be a team capable of challenging for the trophy. A team built around experience, talent, and a generation of players many believed could dominate international football for years. Instead, their World Cup campaign has started with a disaster. Spain has been held to a shocking goalless draw against Cape Verde in its opening match. A result that, by itself, is already difficult to explain. But what happened after the final whistle has pushed this story into an entirely different category. What began as a disappointing result has exploded into a full-scale crisis that threatens to derail Spain's entire tournament before it has truly begun. To understand the magnitude of what happened, we first need to understand the match itself. Spain entered the game carrying concerns that had been growing for weeks. The absence of key attacking players had already raised questions about the team's ability to break down defensive opponents. Without several important attacking options available, Luis de la Fuente was forced to adjust his plans and field a lineup that looked very different from the one many supporters expected to see. The concerns were obvious. Spain relied heavily on creativity through midfield control and intelligent passing combinations. Against a disciplined defensive side determined to sit deep and protect its goal, Spain needed movement, pace, and unpredictability. They needed solutions. Unfortunately, those solutions never arrived. From the opening minutes, the match followed a frustrating pattern. Spain controlled possession but struggled to create meaningful chances. Every attack seemed predictable. Every movement appeared slow. Every passing sequence ended with the same outcome. Cape Verde remained organized, compact, and disciplined. Spain continued to dominate the ball but failed to find any way through. As the minutes passed, frustration grew, players became anxious, supporters became nervous. The pressure increased with every missed opportunity. What was supposed to be a comfortable opening victory slowly transformed into a tense and uncomfortable struggle. By halftime, concerns were growing. By the second half, they were impossible to ignore. Spain looked completely out of ideas. The urgency that should have appeared never truly arrived. The creativity expected from one of Europe's most talented squads seemed to disappear. The final whistle eventually confirmed what nobody wanted to believe. Spain had failed to score. The match ended 0-0. One of the biggest surprises of the tournament had already taken place. But according to reports emerging after the game, the real drama was only beginning. What happened behind closed doors immediately after the final whistle has sent shockwaves through Spanish football. As players returned to the dressing room, emotions were reportedly running extremely high. Disappointment quickly turned into frustration. Frustration turned into arguments, and before long, tensions within the camp appeared to reach a breaking point. The first major controversy involved Rodri, one of Spain's most important and experienced players. Throughout the last several years, he has been viewed as a leader on the pitch and one of the foundations of Spain's midfield. However, reports suggest that following the disappointing result, disagreements emerged regarding tactical decisions and instructions delivered during the match. Sources close to the situation claim that visible frustration toward decisions made from the bench created a moment that coaching staff considered unacceptable. In a tournament environment where unity and discipline are considered essential, any public challenge to authority can create serious problems. Whether those reports accurately reflect what happened remains unclear, but the consequences appear to have been severe. The second name caught in the center of the controversy was Fabian Ruiz. Unlike Rodri, the criticism surrounding Fabian reportedly focused less on behavior and more on performance. Spain's midfield struggled to create opportunities throughout the entire match. The creativity expected from one of Europe's strongest midfield units simply never materialized. The inability to break down Cape Verde's defensive structure became one of the defining stories of the game. As frustration spread through the squad, attention inevitably turned toward players expected to provide solutions. Fabian suddenly found himself at the center of that discussion, but the biggest shock involved Marc Cucurella. While disappointment after a poor result is normal, what happened next reportedly escalated the situation dramatically. Speaking to media representatives shortly after the match, Cucurella allegedly delivered comments that many interpreted as criticism of the team's tactical approach. Public criticism during a World Cup is always dangerous. Public criticism immediately after a disappointing result can be explosive. According to reports circulating across football media, those comments did not go down well within the Spanish camp. Suddenly, what started as a frustrating draw transformed into something much bigger. Questions about tactics became questions about authority. Questions about performance became questions about discipline. Questions about football became questions about leadership. The situation quickly evolved into a crisis, and now Spain finds itself facing a nightmare scenario. The team entered the tournament hoping to challenge for the World Cup. Instead, it now faces uncertainty on multiple fronts. Injuries have already complicated preparations, confidence has been damaged by the disappointing result, internal tensions have become a major talking point, and the pressure surrounding the squad has increased dramatically. The next matches suddenly look far more difficult than anyone expected. What should have been a straightforward path through the group stage now feels uncertain. Every training session will be scrutinized. Every press conference will be analyzed. Every lineup decision will generate debate. The psychological impact of this opening match could prove just as important as the result itself. Football tournaments are often defined by momentum. Confidence can carry teams through difficult moments. Doubt can destroy even the most talented squads. Right now, Spain appears trapped somewhere between those two realities. The squad still possesses immense talent. The quality remains undeniable. On paper, this remains one of the strongest teams in the tournament. But football is not played on paper. It is played under pressure. It is played in moments of adversity. It is played when expectations collide with reality. And right now, reality is becoming increasingly uncomfortable for Spain. Just a few days ago, many analysts viewed Spain as a genuine contender for the World Cup trophy. They pointed to the team's technical quality, tactical organization, and recent success on the international stage. Today, the conversation is completely different. Instead of discussing how far Spain can go, people are asking whether Spain can recover at all. The upcoming matches now carry enormous importance. Another disappointing result could place the team in a dangerously vulnerable position. Another internal controversy could deepen divisions within the squad. Another poor performance could transform concern into panic. That is why this story matters. It is not simply about a draw against Cape Verde. It is about what that draw revealed. It exposed weaknesses that many supporters hoped did not exist. It raised questions that nobody wanted to ask, and it created uncertainty at the exact moment Spain needed stability. Whether Luis de la Fuente can restore unity remains one of the biggest questions facing the tournament. Whether the players can put the controversy behind them remains uncertain. Whether Spain can rediscover the form that made them European champions remains to be seen. But one thing is already clear. The opening night of Spain's 2026 World Cup campaign will be remembered for a very long time. What was supposed to be the beginning of a title challenge has instead become one of the most dramatic and controversial starts imaginable. Spain still has time to change the story. Football has always been full of unexpected comebacks. Great teams often respond strongest when backed into a corner. But the margin for error is disappearing rapidly. The pressure is growing. The questions are multiplying. And as Spain prepares for the next chapter of its World Cup journey, the entire football world will be watching to see whether this team can recover from a crisis that nobody saw coming. The tournament is only beginning, but for Spain, it already feels like everything is on the line.